Most people assume that chronic procrastination means you simply lack discipline, that you are inherently lazy, or that you do not care enough about your responsibilities. But those who constantly find themselves paralyzed before starting a task are often the ones who care the most, overwhelmed by the invisible weight of their own expectations. There are 5 specific things you need to do when you keep procrastinating, and by the end of this video, you might realize that what you have always considered a shameful lack of willpower is actually a highly misunderstood protective mechanism. What you are about to hear is not a generic productivity lecture telling you to just buy a new planner, wake up earlier, or force yourself to work harder. This is a completely different lens through which to view your resistance, proving that your hesitation is not a moral failing, but a biological response that you can gently rewire. The first thing you must do is consciously forgive yourself for the time you have already wasted. You likely know the feeling of sitting at your desk, staring at the clock, feeling a deep, sinking guilt because you should have started 3 hours ago, yet you still remain frozen. This is not because you are addicted to self-sabotage. People might have called you a slacker or told you that you are just making excuses. What is actually happening is a vicious neurological shame cycle. When you beat yourself up, your brain releases stress hormones like cortisol, which pushes your nervous system further into a freeze state, making it biologically harder to initiate any task. You are not a fundamentally lazy person, you are simply trapped in a stress loop, and self-forgiveness is not a weakness, but a strategic neurological tool to reset your brain. The second thing to do is to make the very first step embarrassingly small. You probably find yourself avoiding a project for weeks, feeling a heavy dread every time you think about the hours it will take to complete, so you end up doing nothing at all. This is not because you lack ambition or drive. Teachers, bosses, or even parents might have labeled you as unmotivated because of this. The psychological mechanism at play here involves your amygdala perceiving a large, ambiguous task as a literal threat, triggering an avoidance response to keep you safe from perceived exhaustion or failure. By shrinking the task to something ridiculous, like just opening a document or writing one single sentence, you bypass the brain's threat detection system entirely. You aren't incapable of doing hard work. Your brilliant mind just needs a safer, smaller doorway to enter the room. The third action to take is to completely separate the act of deciding from the act of doing. You often sit down to work, look at a massive to-do list, and immediately open social media or start organizing your desk because you don't know which item to tackle first. This is not because you are easily distracted or lack focus. People have likely told you that you just have a short attention span or terrible time management. What is truly occurring is cognitive overload. Your brain is being asked to play the role of the architect planning the project and the builder executing it at the exact same time, which rapidly depletes your executive function. You are not running away from the work itself. You are running away from the agonizing friction of ambiguity, and separating planning from executing clears the fog. Let us pause right here for a moment. If you recognize yourself in these first few scenarios, you have probably spent years hearing that you just need to try harder, that you need more discipline, or that you are wasting your potential. That is not entirely wrong. It is undeniably exhausting and frustrating to live in a constant state of delay. But you have to understand that this is a description of you given by people who simply do not experience the same intense cognitive and emotional friction when faced with an expectation. They do not feel the invisible wall you're up against. Moving forward, the fourth thing you must do when you are stuck is to regulate your nervous system before you try to regulate your schedule. You might feel a literal tightness in your chest, a shallow breath, or a restless energy in your legs when you finally sit down to confront the thing you are avoiding. This is not because you are fragile or overly dramatic. Society loves to label this specific behavior as being overly sensitive or simply lacking grit. What is actually happening is that procrastination is fundamentally an emotion regulation problem, not a time management problem. Your body is experiencing a biological stress response to the negative emotions attached to the task, such as fear of judgment, boredom, or inadequacy. You are not failing at managing your time. You are a deeply feeling human being whose nervous system is desperately trying to protect you from emotional discomfort. The fifth and final thing to do is to explicitly give yourself permission to do a terrible job on the first try. You likely refuse to type a single word, draw a single line, or make a single decision because you cannot see how to make it perfect right out of the gate. This is not because you do not care about the quality of your work. People might have called you a chronic procrastinator or someone who just cannot finish anything they start. What is actually happening is maladaptive perfectionism. Your brain has linked your personal worth to the flawlessness of the outcome, making the stakes of starting impossibly high. You are not a lazy person hiding from effort. You are a meticulous creator who cares so deeply about the final result that the pressure is paralyzing your ability to begin. There is one more thing that is rarely discussed about chronic procrastination. We live in a modern society that aggressively markets the idea that our worth is measured entirely by our continuous output and productivity. We are sold the illusion that if we aren't constantly grinding, we are falling behind. Because of this, you might not realize that sometimes your procrastination is actually your body's desperate, unarticulated plea for rest. When you push yourself endlessly without genuine recovery, your brain will eventually force you to stop, cloaking its need for rest in the disguise of procrastination. It is often a quiet rebellion against a pace of life that is fundamentally unsustainable. Lazy, unmotivated, disorganized, lacking discipline. Every single one of those words might have been used to describe you at some point, and the tragedy is that perhaps you have even started using them to describe yourself in the mirror. What they saw was real. They saw the missed deadlines, the last-minute panic, and the unfinished projects, but the meaning they attached to it was completely and utterly misunderstood. You are not broken just because you struggle to start. You are a deeply thoughtful, sensitive, and meticulous human being who is simply learning how to navigate the complex emotions attached to your own beautiful potential. Which part of this journey into your own mind felt the most familiar to you? Tell me in the comments below, because someone else reading your experience right now might suddenly realize that they are not the only one fighting this invisible battle.